Hello. As you mentioned, my name is Dr. Brandi Stankovic, and I'm really excited to be here. How many of you have a social media account? How many of you have more than one? 2, 3, 4. How many of you didn't hear my question because you're scrolling social media right now? Social media is selling a lie, that attention equals power. And young people are exploiting themselves under the false promise of wealth and success. And there's also this notion of sex sells that's embedded into the culture. More skin means more likes, and it's a trap. One that glorifies visibility over value. And real power and influence aren't about visibility. It's about discipline, growth, resilience, and empowering others. And social media can be a beautiful medium to uplift and explore the world, but we need to redefine how we are measuring success. Nearly 20 years ago, I started my research in social media, my dissertations on social media strategies to advance organizational change. And I don't know how many of you here can remember what social media was like 15, 20 years ago. We were doing some really wild things, like watching videos of Charlie biting his brother's finger. You guys remember that? Or obsessing about our MySpace top 8. Yeah. For any young people in the room, make sure you go home and you ask your mom about who was in her top 8. But social media brought customization and engagement, and with the rise of the smartphone came more access and more communication. And our research found that it was going to help people build relationships and increase access to knowledge and efficacy. And as social media grew, so did the power of social influence. And that's when the term influencer gained traction. Well, we concluded that social media should facilitate long-term growth, rather than just being a fleeting source of validation. But as we've learned, it does both. And now we're here in this digital age of vulnerability, and we're being conditioned. Social media culture is conditioning us to believe that the number of likes, views, and followers determines our worth. And that just isn't the case. We need to be celebrating and growing. And there's 3 main challenges that I see. The first is the fast money illusion. That's the idea that an influencer is really simple and lucrative, and wealth and success are just easily attained through overexposure alone, right? I promise you, if someone says it's going to be easy, they're trying to sell you something, right? The fast money illusion is creating a distorted economic expectation. And then when people can't meet that standard, they feel inadequate. And it's diminishing the value of hard work. So it's almost making us lazy. The second challenge is a warped sense of empowerment. And what I mean by that is if someone likes my post or views my story, then I feel powerful. And if someone then, if I show more skin, I might get more likes and more swipes and feel even more powerful. And people then become entitled to this and sometimes feel obligated to overexpose. Have you ever been to somebody's social media page and it's entirely 40 different versions of the exact same selfie, right? Right? But social comparison, in all seriousness, social comparison can lead to hypersexualization and body dysmorphia. Stanford Law School did a study on this and the impact of social media and highlighted that the impact of social media has on mental health and the damaging effects it has, even linking it to increased risks of depression and anxiety. Not to mention, a history of explicit content online can have devastating effects on our long-term opportunity, job opportunities, our reputation, our college admissions. Could you imagine if your future employers or clients could see all of your Snapchats? Right? It almost feels desperate. The third challenge is an addiction to validation and a swipe mentality. If it doesn't work, swipe. And there's a study that was published in Cyberpsychology that talks about the transactional dynamic of swipe culture, and that it undermines and really removes the chance of a deeper emotional connection. And there's a study in BMC psychology that suggests and talks about there's a dose-dependent relationship. So our brain needs that gratification. And the more you seek validation, the less emotionally resilient you become. Because when things get hard, instead of actually dealing with it, you seek the dose. Swipe, right? So it's making us, we have no emotional connection, less resilience, and an apathy towards real life. It's almost like making us zombies. So we need to stop glamorizing and sensationalizing attention-seeking behavior. In 2023, the US Surgeon General actually issued an advisory on social media and youth mental health. And in 2024, Australian legislature has actually passed a ban on social media to children under the age of 16. It's time to stop being lazy, desperate zombies. And instead, let's celebrate things like discipline, growth, resilience, and empowering others. Let's redefine social influence. Let's make intellect and impact sexy again. So if we step out of social media for just a second, power in the general sense is being in control of resources, right? And having the freedom to make decisions. And influence is our ability to inspire change. So our value then to an organization is in our knowledge, skills, and abilities. And it comes to the table through our experience, through our emotional intelligence, through our reputation, our global connections, and our ability to deliver results. That value is what translates into monetary value, or money, right? Which fuels your power and influence. I love the story of Cristiano Ronaldo. As you know, the soccer legend, right? And he, at the Euro 2020 press conference, as he was sitting down, moved 2 bottles of Coca-Cola over to his side and replaced it with a bottle of water. That small little moment that lasted only a couple seconds caused a social media frenzy and immediately went viral. Coca-Cola reportedly experienced a drop in market value of $4 billion because of the incident. Yeah, that's influence. Now they bounce right back. But Ronaldo's influence is built on his athletic excellence, but his discipline, his growth, his resilience, and how he empowers others. So influence in general won't diminish if the algorithm changes or a new platform is released, right? If you don't think that Swifties would be able to find Taylor if TikTok gets shut down, right? I mean, they found her at football games, so they're bound to find her just about anywhere, right? But no, because her influence isn't built on vanity metrics. It's built on her craft and her discipline, her growth, her resilience, and how she empowers others. In my strategic consulting business, I too am constantly pressured with the notion of sex sells. Friends and colleagues will suggest a more seductive approach to improve my viewership or sales or engagements. But it doesn't align with my mission. I'm advocating for a culture where confidence is based on intellect and impact, not my cleavage, even if it would make me insta-famous. So in this art of possibility, I propose a new standard for influence, one built on, you guessed it, discipline, growth, resilience, and empowering others. So first, I need all of your help because it's going to take all of us. This takes all of us to change the culture. Number one is discipline. And discipline looks a little different today than it did in generations past, right? You won't have to walk uphill both ways in the snow like your grandpa. And you probably won't have to rub some dirt on it like Dad. But you will have to develop healthy habits. And discipline requires a detox from instant gratification. So 30 days, no social media. Who can do it? We're good. That means no swiping, no gaming, no sharing, no viewing, no anything. What will we do with our lives, right? We'll focus on being present. And we laugh because at minimum, we should change the notifications that we have on our phone, set boundaries and unfollow toxic accounts. And I promise your friends will survive without you sharing those hilarious reels and memes, right? But we need to ensure that we're focused on the right things, and this detox will allow us to get away from that. I also recommend you delete your Finsta. For any parents in the room, a Finsta is a fake Instagram account, right? Or wait, who am I kidding? It's probably the parents that have the fake Instagram accounts, right? Maybe? I'm not really sure. Or just delete it all, wipe the slate clean. Most importantly, though, be honest with yourself on how much of your life is consumed with doom scrolling, cyber stalking, and posting for validation. When you're ready to reintroduce social media, use it to share your craft, to spread love with one another, and to brainstorm, ask questions, and teach each other. Number 2 is growth. People gravitate towards the energy of self-mastery. So invest in your mind and your body. Create a pro forma. For those of us in business, a pro forma, of course, is used for projection of planning and decision making. And a personal pro forma then would be a projection of you into the future. So create vision and set goals. A pro forma always includes a budget, so understand your money and build your financial literacy. And it's a working document. So it'll evolve as you do. Right? But you want to know the real flex? Action. Commit to doing something. Number 3 is resilience. Life is hard, right? We all come from different backgrounds and different privileges and neighborhoods and upbringings, but we can all agree that life is hard. Yeah, life is the hardest thing that you will ever do. But ask anyone that's achieved anything, and they will tell you that being successful requires blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, life is hard. It is. And insert any cliche or motivational meme that you want to hear. Gotta stand up, be resilient, toughen up, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about our resilience. And resilience in today's environment requires us to chaperone our brand, your personal brand. And your personal brand is who you are, what you stand for, what people say about you, the relationship or experience that people have with you. And you have to nurture this, be intentional, be authentic, but be deliberate. Right? When it comes to our brand, know what you're sharing. Don't be afraid to ask your friends not to share that photo, or to take down that unflattering photo, or let's not share all the details of the weekend tailgate, right? And I think our brand takes nurturing that. Be careful of casual language and hurtful soapboxes, and manage our emotional outbursts. And I also think that we should take a look at and recognize the impact of long-term body modifications, right? Okay, so get tattoos, but maybe don't start with your face, right? I have this philosophy when it comes to professional dress in the corporate world, and that is to pick a sexy. And what I mean by that is there's only room for one item of theatrics when it comes to professional dress. So if you're gonna wear a crazy jacket, pair it with a plain blouse and the top, or pants and shirt. If you're going to show cleavage, great, sleeves, pants. If you're going to wear a short skirt, great, tights. Right? And it's said that there's no need to peacock for attention. There's no need to undress for attention. It dilutes your vibrance. Your personal brand is your reputation, your work ethic, your integrity, and it precedes you. It also follows you. So take care of it. Social media is the perfect place to share your digital brand and your story. So I'm not saying don't sparkle. I'm saying sparkle in an intentional way. And lastly, number 4 is empowering others. People who support, mentor, and elevate the people around them naturally attract admiration and respect without needing to demand it. So champion one another. Last year, I had the opportunity to go to Lake Naivasha, Kenya, and work with CEOs from all over the continent of Africa, and it was a women's empowerment event. And in that, these women were setting goals for themselves, for some of them, for the first time in their lives, because they've never had the luxury to dream. And so they were advocating for one another. At the end of the session, they were shouting, I can, I will, I am. It was such an incredible moment that I videoed it and shared it. And recently, someone commented on the video, poking fun at the low number of views and likes compared to her scantily clad videos. And now, despite the allure of popularity, I wasn't fazed by the internet's troll. Because here's what she doesn't realize. I don't measure my worth in likes, and that video captured the exponential impact of influence. I may have inspired those 100 women, but they went back to their organizations and empowered them, who then went out into the community and shared with others. And just like that, we're impacting thousands of lives. All the organizations that I've worked for and with have gone on to nurture, grow, and develop well beyond my influence. My impact lives in the hearts and minds of the people that we serve. I may have been a spark, but the fire lives on. So volunteer, spread loving comments, share in your friend's success, build a network in your school and community, although I urge you to audit your network to ensure you surround yourself with growth-oriented people. Right? But be brave in your efforts and use your voice to stand up for what you believe in. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say I believe in capitalism, and there are people out there that are building a life through overexposure, and they have every right to do so. I also have friends where sexual content is part of their brand. What I say to these individuals, though, is take responsibility for your story. Don't create a fast money illusion or a warped sense of empowerment. No, instead, share what's important and be transparent. Because most overnight success was 20 years in the making, right? And ask yourself, what impact am I having on the next generation? Influence is not about entitlement, visibility, or external validation. It's about discipline, growth, resilience, and empowering others. So stop chasing attention. The best things about you are not your appearance. The best things about me have nothing to do with my looks, although those are a nice little bonus. Let's redefine social influence and make intellect and impact sexy again. Thank you.